Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience. What am I doing here in my bathroom? Well, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to actually talk about the James Bond shaving. Now, go back as long as you want, 50 years of James Bond film, and he's done quite a bit of shaving. I mean, Roger Moore had a shaving scene, Sean Connery had a shaving scene, obviously Daniel Craig had a shaving scene. We're going to recreate every one of those shaving scenes, show you the technique, what they use, the tools. But what we're going to start out today is with the man himself, Daniel Craig, the actor. And a little behind the scenes information tells us that he uses Aveeno therapeutic shave gel. So this is not James Bond, it's the man behind James Bond, and he uses Aveeno therapeutic shave gel as his personal shaving gel, and happens to use, no, not a cutthroat razor, but a simple Pro Glide Gillette razor. So we're going to use these two today to do the Daniel Craig shave. And as you can see, I've got a bit of a scruff, so this is perfect. And we're going to talk about some of the shaving techniques. So what you can't see is I'm soaking my razor actually in a sink of hot water. Really important to get a hot razor as you're going across it. It helps to glide, helps to cut the hair a little bit more evenly. But in upcoming shaving videos, we're actually going to shave with the old-fashioned Goldfinger Gillette razor. We're going to use the Florist shave soap as well. We're going to do the cutthroat shave that he does in Skyfall, and we're even going to do the I think it was a Schick, but I've got to find out. I've got it downstairs in the collection. The Schick from Live and Let Die, when he's attacked by a snake. We are not going to use a snake then. So with Aveeno, it's really nice. It's actually kind of like a gel, if you will. And usually a lot of people like to get these things a little warmed up, but we'll just kind of start applying it to the face. Now, a lot of die-hard people obviously like to use a brush, and I've got all types of badger hair brushes and things like this. For today's video, we are literally just going to apply this by hand. So we'll just take a little time to get everything all dooled up. Now, I've been actually growing out this beard a little bit, but it is time. It's gotten to that itchy stage. I think it's even past kind of the Skyfall stage at this point. And I have a few client meetings tomorrow, so living in corporate America and looking the part, so to speak, all dog new tricks. It's coming off. So once I get everything all lathered up, and you can see I'm not very exact about this. When I use a brush, I'm a little bit more exact. I'll just kind of rinse it off at this point. Get a little water. And start the shaving process. So by now, my shaver is actually soaked for quite a bit. It's nice and warm. And some people swear by having a shaver that's a little heavier. For me, this is fine actually. So we'll start the process. And I always like to start from the sideburns, get a little bit more exact. I always find that the first cut is the most important. Because as you know, if your sideburns are a little off, and now mine have grown a little bit long, so I may actually bring them up a little bit. You ever notice that? The more you wait in between haircuts, the longer your sideburns get, no matter how you cut it. So I like to do just a very simple, I see some people just rake across their skin. I like to go slow, right? I like to kind of feel a little bit. Now I'm not feeling any drag because I've soaked the razor. The Aveeno is very forgiving actually. Sets a nice buffer up from feeling anything too harsh. And I go over a few times, not too many times without actually re-lathering. So if you're going to go over multiple times, it's always good to re-lather, especially if you have sensitive. So once I've done kind of the strafing run of the sides, I usually move to the neck. So I leave this area, the mustache and the chin, kind of open because they're the coarser hairs, if you will. And then I begin on the neck. I do the upper part of the neck first, and then I go to the lower neck. It's tradition, it's habit for me, but for some reason I take a little bit more time on the upper part. The hair is a little coarser on the bottom, it's a little bit finer. And then I also stretch the skin as much as possible. You get a nice a nice fluid bit there, and then also it kind of evens out all of the skin. And typically speaking, I'll go up against it, but I'm going to try to do it the traditional way to show you the right way to do it, not the wrong way. But then I'll start in the goatee area, starting with the corners. So at this point, now that you've done kind of the general shave, you want to do all of the different swipes and go against the grain. Only do this if you don't have sensitive skin or if you have very coarse beards like me. Now what I typically do here is, and I'm going to do the same with the Aveeno, is I'll lather up again. So especially underneath the neck, it's very coarse, so as long as the skin is wet, you can kind of lather up again. And if you're doing other areas against the grain, I would suggest you lather up. So let's see how we do this. We're going to do corners of the mouth and around the mustache, because I'm going to do around the lip. And I'm going to do up against the grain because around the corners of the mouth, it gets very coarse. And now I'm shaving up against the grain on the neck. Very slowly. Tell you, I used to listen to music while I did this. Call me crazy. I actually like to hear the sound of the whiskers scraping off the noise. I don't know, there's something about the whole tradition of shaving. I don't mind it. I don't do it every day, but I don't mind it because you think about all the gentleman things that we can do. By the way, what I'm doing right now is I'm feeling to see if there's any stubble, and of course there is, so I'm even shaving to the side. I like my neck to be smooth. There's very few things that a gentleman can do kind of on his own in the privacy with himself. You know, you can look at his iPad in the toilet. Other than that, shaving is one of them. And it's one of the last bastions of true gentlemanhood, you know, still shaving and everything. And it's kind of nice. I think it's a little time where you can't rush it or you'll cut your face apart. So it teaches you to slow down, calm down, have a little fun. Okay, well, now that essentially those details are taken care of, obviously you want to rinse your face. So what I start to do is I rinse with warm water. So obviously let my sink drain out and turn on warm water and just splash my face, get the shaving cream off. So once you do that, it's great. I mean, right? So you've cleaned it all off. You got most of it off. Problem is that you still have your pores are wide open, right? So they're screaming a little bit. It's still hot. It's not the greatest for skin repair. So what you want to do is, and this is the tough part, you want to splash yourself with ice cold water. Get your water coming out as cold as you can and splash your face. Just do it. Ooh, that is bracing. All right. It's bracing, but good. So at that point, pat your face. Don't sit there and rub. That just rips your face apart. It actually promotes dryness. And there's an oil called sebum, which actually causes acne, even in adults. And what you want to do is pat your face, because if you start to rub your face with your towel, you can actually overact the sebum glands, and you don't want to do that. You want to try to avoid adult acne as much as possible. So at that point, keeping in touch with the whole Daniel Craig moment, he uses Kiehl's. I have no idea what type of Kiehl's, but this happens to be Kiehl's Ultra Facial Oil-Free Lotion. Really good, especially in the winter, right? So it's cold. You would think your skin becomes very dry, but the reality is that the dryness overacts those cells that I was just telling you about, and you get very oily. So this, you just put a little bit on. Now, I don't just do my beard area. I do everything. I do my eyes. Hey, look, I'm going to be 45. I need all the moisture I can get. Do this, then put a tiny bit more on. Now, I've got already some of my hands. I'll just put a tiny bit on, and I'll do the neck area. And a lot of people do not. And don't feel feminine about this, guys. Come on, you know, grow a pair, seriously. You can moisturize. In fact, you should. If you don't want to look 45 when you're 45, I highly suggest you do this. So do your neck area, do a bit of your shoulders, do around the corners of your mouth, go back and do your eyes, get your forehead again, and slowly and gently wipe down. And with your eyes, just kind of do one of those and wipe off your hands. And you're essentially done. So that's the first shave. That is the Daniel Craig one. We're going to follow it up with a James Bond one, Skyfall. And we're going to do a Sean Connery Gillette one. And we're going to do a Roger Moore one. So we're going to run the whole gamut and really get the Bond experience. May even do a literary Bond and use the Hofritz razor. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, this has been David Zaritsky for the Bond experience. Welcome to my bathroom. Didn't expect you here, but anyway, talk to you soon. Take care.